I'm John Crocker. I'm here as always with Dan the Man, Dan Frischberg, and on the VIP line with us now, Jai Koch. Of course, this is the woman that turns stay-at-home mothers into real estate investors and turns those same investors into real estate moguls. Jai, welcome back to the Money Man Report. How you doing?
Good morning. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Always great to have you. Thank you very much. So, Jai, there you are. You were doing one of the most important jobs in the world. You were a stay-at-home mother, and you just decided you uh, wanted some other things in addition to your life, and became a real estate investor, and really started to change your life, and started to change the life in your family. And here you are. You're on the show. You're becoming famous. But what is your mission? Why are you doing what you do?
Yeah, well, it's a simple but kind of long answer to that. But I'll start by just giving you a little insight to what drives me, what moves me. I mean, there's two famous quotes that I live by, and I'm sure you're familiar with them. But they've always spoken to me since I was a little girl and shaped my life. But I'm a big believer to leave the world a bit better, than you found it. Right. So I honestly, truly believe that. I think that we can all be successful and make money, but still be good people at the same time. Like, I love capitalism, but I think that there's a way to make money, be successful, and still be a good person. I don't think that one negates the other.
Your book that you're writing is about what John said. Your mission is converting stay-at-home moms into transforming them, helping them transform themselves. Why do you think they can do this? Why do you have this at this point in your life? Why are you driven to do this?
Because I was able to do it, and I didn't have many advantages in my life. I didn't have anything that was special that gave me. I didn't graduate from college. I didn't come from a privileged background. I didn't know how to do any of it. I didn't know anything about real estate, and yet I was still able to do it. So I want other people, as part of, my mission to help. I've always been, nurturing kind of person. I always like to help people. It's just a part of me. I actually get a lot of pleasure from it. Believe it or not. And I'll even go out of my way, spend money, do things that are inconvenient to help others just because that's just me. So
Describe the pleasure. I see, John, you want to say something?
No, Dan, I like your question better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it except that I really do smile inside, and I feel joy seeing someone else do something and do it well and succeed. I guess I get some satisfaction in that because I like the achievement. I feel like I had something to do with that achievement, and I've always been looking for. I mean, this is a selfish thing, I like recognition. I like success. I like knowing that I had a challenge and a goal and I was able to do it. And I enjoy it, and I sometimes you have to help other people, and I have always just been like that. It's just me. I can't help it. I'm a nurturer. I just want to see other people succeed, and I don't think that there's any reason why that they can't. Like I said, I came from a very disadvantaged childhood, and I just never
Jai,
let anything get in my way.
Shed some light on your childhood, and maybe you can talk about your mother a little bit, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. There used to be a point in time where I was embarrassed. When I started, out on my own and I was doing well, I was independent. I would never tell people. People would ask, where'd you grow up? I'm like, I'm from Miami. But Miami's a big town. Well, I didn't want to say, I grew up in Opelika. But now, I wear it proudly. I grew up in Opelika. My mother was an immigrant. She was illiterate. She could speak English, but she couldn't read. She couldn't write. She couldn't drive. My father.
For people listening to you around the world, Jai, in a phrase, just describe Opelika.
I mean, it's the hood. I mean, it's an economically depressed neighborhood that is, poverty level is pretty much describes, what most people are living at.
Jai, we do have to go to a short break here. Stay with us. We'll get right back to you and your story right after this. More Money Man Report. Don't touch the dial. There's nothing on that other station.
880 The Biz, where money talks.
This is Michael Medved at michaelmedved.com for Town Hall. On the campaign trail, several leading Democratic presidential candidates expressed support for the concept of reparations paid to black people to compensate for the crimes of slavery. The most uncomfortable questions about this terrible suggestion aren't what it says about the past, but what it means for our future. Most advocates want reparations paid out over time, not in a single lump sum. But when would the payments end? And what about an African-American baby born in, say, 2050? Would she be entitled to reparations too? Affirmative action was supposed to be a temporary program terminated once equality was achieved, and yet it's continued to give preferential treatment based on race for more than 50 years. If government bonuses like race-based preferences in college admission and some hiring go on indefinitely, then that would perpetuate racial differences rather than unifying the country. I'm Michael Medved.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are rallying as investor concern over the economic downturn is showing signs of easing. Every industry in the S&P 500 is advancing, with technology and consumer shares leading the gains. Apple has unveiled a range of new multimedia services, including a rival to Netflix called Apple TV Plus, which will feature original content from a host of Hollywood celebrities. Apple also launched a news magazine service, a video gaming platform, and a new credit card in partnership with Goldman Sachs and MasterCard. A deal for Uber. The ride-hailing giant is buying Middle Eastern competitor Careem Networks for $3.1 billion. The deal comes as Uber is said to be preparing to file in April for initial public offering. And Bed Bath & Beyond's board is facing a major challenge. Bloomberg News has learned 3 activist funds are launching a proxy fight to replace the company's entire 12-person board. The move stems from concerns the company is not responding well to the rise of e-commerce. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Jay Sekulow explains terrorism is terrorism.
This time, the people targeted were Muslims that worship in a mosque. They were peaceful. They were just engaged in Friday prayers.
When white supremacists carry out attacks on peaceful worshipers who may not share our faith and are of the Muslim faith, we must condemn it the same way. It is the same kind of terrorism.
Jay Sekulow, live, weekdays at 4 on 880 The Biz. 880 The Biz, where money talks. You're tuned in to the Money Man Report with your host, TV and radio money man, Dan Frischberg. For more information about everything we're talking about, go to themoneyman.com. Right now, that's themoneyman.com.
Welcome back to the Money Man Report. Thanks for staying with us. I'm John Crocker. Of course, I'm here with Daniel Frischberg, but we are on that VIP line with real estate mogul Jai Koch here. Jai, other than the monetary satisfaction that you get from being a real estate investor, what are some of the more maybe emotional satisfactions that you get from doing this?
So I was saying that my father passed away when I was 15, and my mother and I, we did own our home. We had a mortgage, and my father was the breadwinner, so we were in a precarious situation, but we found a way to make it work, and, we were able to pay off that home, and I still own that home today. But I want to talk about, I still remember his name to this day. I don't remember the name of the mortgage company, but there was an officer at the bank who held our note, and his name was Mr. Rutherford. And when we would get behind, it still makes me, tear up to this day. But whenever we get behind on our note, it makes me cry because he was so nice to us. He would come out to the house and, remind us, and he would tell us, I didn't think I was going to cry, but sorry. And he would help us catch up, and he would tell us, and he would just always, who does that? Nobody does that.
Yeah.
So, So then, as a property owner myself, you know, I
We
buy
should tell
properties.
people that that this is it's not your voice, that you are actually tearing up from telling this story, right?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be able to tell it without crying, but it's a happy story, but it still, you know, reminds me of that vulnerable time in my life. But anyway, so now as a property owner myself, I see those people. You know, I'm renting to some people who are in, you know, they're not wealthy. They're, you know, they're making a living. They're living paycheck to paycheck like we were. And there's still a way to make money and be successful, but still have a heart. So I do my best to provide affordable housing for these people. And I see them as me and my family, you know, even though we owned our home, but we had a mortgage and we had to pay it. And we had somebody who was understanding and who was giving us chances and not just looking for the first opportunity to kick us out. So I kind of see this as my way of paying it forward. And it feels good. I mean, I'm in it. I'm making a living out of this. I'm not trying to make it sound like, you know, an angel. But I definitely lead with my heart. I mean, I'm running a business. I'm making money. I'm making a living, and I enjoy it. I really enjoy what I'm doing. But at the same time, I try to be a fair landlord. And if I have someone who, when I buy a property, I try to keep the tenants that are there already. And their rents may be below market, but if I'm able to still, you know, support this property and not have to raise the rent on them, and I can do this obviously by buying right and buying smart, and I'm still cash flowing, I don't automatically just raise the rent on these people, even though they might be paying $400 below market. I try to give them every advantage to stay. And at some point I might have to raise the rent, but I do it in very small increments. I don't make it so that they can't afford to live there anymore. And if I know that they can't afford to pay much more, then I'll keep the rent at what it is to help them out. I just, you know, and it does end up helping me in the long run because, you know, I've talked about this before, but turning over units is costly. You have to paint, you have to fix things, you might have to update, and you have your vacancy time, because if you're painting, you know, as fast as I've got it down to a system now, if I do have to turn over a unit, I can do it pretty quickly, but it's still a lot of cost involved. You know, it could be a couple of $1,000s or more depending on what you're doing. So in the long run, this is a win-win situation. I'm having tenants who are living there, they're paying their rent, they're taking care of the property, and I'm keeping them there. I'm not, you know, and I feel good because I feel like I'm doing my part. You know, I'm a capitalist, I'm making money, but I'm still providing affordable housing, and I feel good about it. So
And Jai, we maybe
a
only have a
win-win.
minute or so left in this particular segment, but describe one of the other things that you do as far as working with your tenants. If they have a certain skill set, and if you can hire them to use that skill set on your property, you've done that in the past. Can you describe that, please?
Yes, I have done that. I had a wonderful tenant who was a painter, and he had his own business and pressure washed properties. So he painted my entire property, the exterior, the interior. He pressure washed. He painted the carport, the driveway, and all this for free because he wanted to rent from me. He wanted this property, and he was there for a few years, and he was great. And he's since moved on, but we're still friends. And I hire him now. I get a discount obviously because of our relationship, but he still does work for me in my other properties, and I trust him. I know him, and I get a better price. So I'm always looking for someone who has, they're handy or they have some talent that I can use and barter with them.
Jai, we got to go to a short break here, but stay with us, please. More Money Man Report right after this. Don't go anywhere.
880 The Biz, where money talks.
I'm John Crocker from the Money Man Report Radio. Growth in these markets have been anything but predictable for almost a year now, but I'm not putting my family's dreams of a more comfortable life on hold, and now You don't have to either. I found 2 high-paying dividend stocks that are putting S&P 500 returns to shame. While everybody else is pulling their hair out searching for ways to make a few bucks in this sideways market, a few smart investors have been pumping their wallets full of easy money by simply buying these 2 high-paying dividend stocks, and there's zero fancy trading required. Get my new report on 2 solid dividend-paying stocks putting S&P 500 returns to shame this week for free. That's right, I said free. No credit card, no baloney. Simply go to themoneyman.com and complete the short form at the top of the page right now. That's themoneyman.com. We have an opening for one accomplished chiropractor in the new and growing Weston chapter of the Primetime Business Network, the exclusive network for building your business through relationships. As the costs of conventional marketing soars, Primetime Business Network members are enjoying real camaraderie and successfully growing their businesses through the highly effective sharing of customers and referrals. You and your business are always featured because each chapter has only one member from each position. Get noticed and build satisfying, mutually beneficial relationships. Hone your communication skills and share your story with a growing group of top pros you can really respect. And each member in every chapter reports substantial growth because we show up to each meeting intent on growing our incomes by proudly referring our customers and contacts to each other. Apply now at www.themoneyman.com. Do it now because when the seat is gone, it's gone.
Hello, I'm attorney Kenny Lay of Florida's largest family law firm, Kenny Lay & Associates. We specialize in family law for men only. It's important for men facing a divorce to protect meaningful financial assets, especially with today's investment market in full focus. For questions concerning any aspect of family law, child custody, or for 15 tips preparing you in advance for divorce, visit our website at divorcemenonly.com. That's divorcemenonly.com. Kenny Lay & Associates, men only, family law only. Offices, Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach.
880 The Biz, where money talks. You're tuned in to the Money Man Report with your host, TV and radio money man, Dan Frischberg. For more information about everything we're talking about, go to themoneyman.com right now. That's themoneyman.com.
Welcome back to the Money Man Report. They won't let us cancel the next show, so this is the last segment here. I'm John Crocker here with TV and radio money man Dan Frischberg. Of course, we're on the VIP line with Jai Magner Koch. And Dan, you just wanted to tie something together here real quick.
Yeah, I've done a lot of real estate investing in my life over these years. And I have to say, I never really approached it in the way that Jai was talking about. If somebody was a few $100s under the rent, I would bring the rent up to the market. And when I would acquire a property, I would always be thinking about how can I raise the rent 5%. And look, I was doing it as a businessman, but I got to say that I never had the success. I never had people stay as my tenants for years and years like Jai does. I frequently had people who vandalized or stole the refrigerator and stuff like that. Jai has got this experience of being able to manage them herself because the people are so loyal to her. And so I've learned something about the way she's doing business. I think it may be a better way to do it. Jai, what do you think?
Yeah, well, you're right there. I mean, I have had more situations where tenants have improved my property and actually gave it back to me in better condition than when I gave it to them. And I didn't ask them to do it. I mean, the one, instance where the guy painted everything for me, that was one thing. But I've had other tenants just do things on their own, leave my property actually much nicer than I gave it to them. And I think it has a lot to do with how the relationship that we formed and how I treated them with respect, how I treat it like a business, as I've said before, and I treat them as my customers. And I always look at the situation from their perspective as well as mine and try to find a balance where everyone feels like they're getting a fair shake. Like, everyone has some skin in the game, and they have a reason to also be loyal and to, keep the property nice, because they know that, in return that I, am being very fair with them and treating them the way they want to be treated. I mean, you're living in a place, you want to enjoy being there. You don't want to have this stress, that your landlord is.
Yeah, and you see, the thing is that you end up with a better life that way. Yeah, you're able to manage 16 or 20 tenants without really having anybody helping you do it, because the people help you do it. I think that's why I think you're the one that people should be learning how to do that business from, because of the way you're doing it. I think it's nice that you're doing it because you're kind and you care about the people, but I think it's a better way to do the business. And if I was a stay-at-home mom or something, that's who I'd want to learn it from. That's a business I want to be in.
Well, yeah, thank you. It is working out very well, and I'm happy that I can share, what's worked for me and what I do, and hopefully, help other people do the same, and, make the world, better than how we got it.
Well, that's cool. And that's why I like having you on. We didn't really know.
How can people get in touch with you, Jai?
So they can go to my website, realtorinmiami.com, or they can give me a call, 305-984-6966.
Jai Magner Koch, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's all the time we got. Big thanks to Dan the Money Man, Dan Frischberg. Thank you to Danny on the boards, making the show sound so good. I'm John Crocker. This is the Money Man Report. We'll be with you tomorrow, folks.
And the home
880.
of
The Biz.
You have to play the percentages when you invest in real estate. Win the percentage game with Angel Oak Prime Bridge. Whether it's fix and flips as low as 8% or landlord financing starting at 5.5%, Angel Oak Prime Bridge wins with a customer-focused approach to your business. Go to AOPBconnect.com to see how you can win at the percentage game with Angel Oak Prime Bridge. And introducing our new wholesale partner program available at AOPBconnect.com. The secret to winning at the percentage game.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are on the rise. Trade remains a big focus for investors with talks between the U.S. and China this week in Beijing. The Trump administration hardened its legal position toward the Affordable Care Act, arguing the entire law is unconstitutional. The Justice Department had previously held the view that large parts, but not all of the law should be struck down. The shift in emphasis may push health care to the forefront of the 2020 election campaign. The Transportation Department is creating a